Outside, of course, while we haven't yet seen large outflows, there has been an uptick in the number of people leaving, but we haven't yet seen any dramatic outflows. At the same, we are of course advocating for borders to remain open in the region, but also beyond. And indeed, one of my requests to you would be to continue to consider keeping your borders open, because beyond the programs of evacuation and resettlement, the resettlement program has been announced in its details last night, welcome as they are, they will never cover the full size of the needs. So that would be for me your request to you, particularly in the light of the bill that is about to do its ITER in Parliament.
A little bit short of time, but can I also ask you about Afghans who are already in the United Kingdom and either in the asylum system or have previously been in the asylum system? Have you any particular calls on the Home Office as to how these Afghans should be treated?
Right. Oh, I'm sorry.
So I was just, it's about Afghans who are already in the United Kingdom, perhaps in the asylum process, or have already been through the asylum process and perhaps haven't been successful with their claim. Have you any particular asks of the Home Office in relation to how they should be treated?
So you're talking about the ones who have not had success. Did I understand correctly?
Indeed, they're either still waiting for a result. Or
well, we have asked, of course, the Home Office and indeed all other countries to not to return any Afghans back home, regardless of their status in this country. We would like to see, of course, the continued processing of asylum applications here for those who have made it to the UK, and then for those, of course, who fulfill the criteria for refugee status, receive the status that they deserve and need, and for those who are rejected, for the time being, receiving some form of temporary permit to remain in the country while working, waiting to see then how things develop in Afghanistan. That is what we have asked, what we would like to see here.
Can I ask finally then, you mentioned briefly the Borders Bill. Given the small number of places in the grand scheme of things that you've mentioned on resettlement schemes, or indeed some of the other schemes we've been speaking about earlier, there will inevitably be an increase in people seeking to arrive in the UK to claim asylum. How would the Borders Bill impact on them, and what would be your message to the Home Office about that?
Well, it would impact on them as it would impact on any other asylum seeker, and not in a positive way. That is, and I find it a bit ironic, to be honest, that the very same people that we felt so affected by when we would see them hanging from planes in Kabul, or those we are now discussing on how they should be extracted. If they extracted themselves and made it here, would, under the bill, if that bill were law, be first of all liable to potentially 4 years in jail, and then subject to some attempts to return to some other countries, which, as we know, at the moment they don't exist, they are not there. And if found to be refugees, having only access to abridged rights under the Convention, and particularly not being entitled to family reunion and assistance. So I think there is something ironic in the way we are so concerned about them, about the same people when they're there, but we are ready not to consider them when they're coming to the UK. As you know, I think it's well known that the UNHCR has been very critical of the bill that we regard as being in breach of international law, and for those who are interested, also not very likely to meet its stated objectives.